Welcome to the 8th video in our ELITE Method Toolkit tutorial series. In this video, I'm going to cover how to use the Stages of Change Matrix tool for Step 5, Enhance. It's important that you've done Step 1, Examine, Step 2, Learn, Step 3, Implement, and Step 4, Transform before getting to this point, because everything builds on what you did in the step prior. So if you haven't yet watched those videos, go ahead and do that now. You can find a link to the full playlist of tutorial videos in the description below and in the PDF guide you received via email. Now we're in the Enhance step of the ELITE method. Because the Enhance step requires that we look at metrics of how marketing is performing, you're likely going to do this 3, 6, 9, and 12 months after completing your Transform step. It's important that you've already examined your strategy, systems, and assets, learned the psychology of your ideal buyer, implemented your psychology-driven marketing strategy, and begun to transform your brand reputation by letting those psychology-informed assets live long enough to track metrics for at least a few months. Now that we're in the Enhance stage, it's time to see what those metrics are telling us. Switching to the Stages of Change Matrix tool, scroll down to the final section. This is your Enhance stage. This is where we want to create a feedback loop and document our learnings based on the metrics that you set in the Transform step. This is where graphing and charts are incredibly helpful. As I mentioned in the last tutorial, my team and I use custom Coda dashboards for our clients so that we can easily generate graphs, charts, and reports that show performance metrics over time. You may choose to use everything we've provided in the toolkit, or you may choose to aggregate all of your data in a tool you're already using that creates visuals for you. But you can also simply look straight across or use some conditional formatting to make it easier to see patterns across your metrics columns. Based on what the data is showing you, what hypotheses do you have about how your marketing is performing with the people that you're trying to connect with at each stage of the sales funnel? What marketing evidence do you have? This is likely going to be data pulled from your metrics tracking tool. Also, anytime I consult with a new company, I set up monthly calls with the sales and marketing teams to better establish this feedback loop. Marketing's job is to feed MQLs to the sales team. Sales' job is to vet MQLs into SQLs and convert SQLs into closed deals. But they can't do that if MQLs aren't a good fit. And marketing can't get the right fit MQLs if sales isn't telling them what's right and what's wrong. So we need to have a solid collaborative relationship between these two teams. Talk to your sales team. What hypotheses do your sales team members have? What has the experience been for them in receiving leads that have gone through your psychology-driven marketing funnels? And what evidence do they have of these hypotheses? You can also set up similar conversations with your customer support teams. I once worked with a company where the service delivery team cringed every time a sales rep closed a deal because most of the deals that were closing were extremely hard and inefficient to deliver on. And we ended up pivoting the marketing to different audiences to make sure that the service delivery team could take advantage of economies of scale to serve new clients more effectively and efficiently. Marketing and sales need to know these things, so get your customer support team's input at least once a quarter. Next, what theories do you want to test now that you've looked at the hypotheses and evidence? How are you going to test those theories? How can you ensure that they're going to be as blind and unbiased as possible? And once you collect and analyze the data from those tests, how are you going to incorporate the results back into your marketing implementation plan to continually improve and enhance your psychology-driven demand generation funnels? It's important that you plan out how you're going to test, measure, and incorporate the data that you're receiving from your tests prior to actually executing them. This is going to help you remain as unbiased as possible. Oftentimes in the marketing world, marketing and sales teams, as well as leaders who are in the C-suite, have a lot to say about marketing's performance. However, oftentimes a lot of what's being said is not objective or backed by data because the ecosystems that we work in, where marketing's job is to show off the company and attract in qualified leads, and sales' job is to close those leads, and leadership's job is to make sure that the business is growing, it's very tempting for the humans within these companies to point blame at various departments. And while that's natural and normal, it's not exactly helpful. So the more objective and pragmatic we can be about testing and improving our marketing strategies from data-backed vantage points, the more effective we can be. At Cornell, we're huge proponents of incorporating human psychology, human thoughts, and human emotions into the strategy process. But there are some places where we need to get emotion out of the equation so that we can maximize ROI and channel more time, energy, and resources into what's objectively working while fixing what isn't. and that can only be done from an empirical, data-driven perspective. So put your research methods in place before you're in the thick of it. In the next and final video, we're going to talk about a few final suggestions for how to use the metrics tracking and content library tools in step 5, Enhance. And remember, I'm walking you through our ELITE method, and it's important that you follow the steps in order. ELITE. Examine, learn, implement, transform, enhance. Subscribe to the playlist in the description below to make sure you get all of the tutorial videos so I can help you build your psychology-driven marketing strategy every step of the way.